Shawna Benoit here, and today we're going to go over the F716 amendment to change possession closing date. This amendment is used to move the closing date, change the closing date or possession date, or both. Amendment number. This identifies which amendment this is in the contract. For example, Amendment 1, Amendment 2, Amendment 3, etc. This helps track changes in the contract file. The date. This is the date the amendment is written or prepared, not necessarily the acceptance date. Whereas the undersigned parties have entered into a certain agreement. This paragraph identifies the original purchase contract. Buyer's name as it is written in the contract. Seller's name exactly as it is written in the contract. Binding agreement date. This refers to the date the contract became binding. This date is when both parties signed and everyone was notified of acceptance. The property's address. This identifies a specific property under contract. Whereas the undersigned parties desire to amend this agreement. This explains that the buyer and the seller mutually agreed to change the contract. The amendment benefits both parties. In simple terms, both buyer and seller agreed to modify the contract. Consideration clause. For and in consideration of the sum of $10. This is legal contract language. It simply means both parties are exchanging value to make the amendment valid. In practice, no money actually changes hands. Closing date. This section modifies the closing date in the original contract. This means the old closing date is replaced with the new date written here in the contract. The transaction shall be closed on and insert the date here. Or such date as may be agreed to by the parties in writing. This means the date could change if both parties agree in writing. Extension. This refers to the 8-day unilateral extension right found in the GAR purchase and sale agreement. Either party may unilaterally extend closing up to 8 days if necessary. Two options. You must select one. Option 1 is hereby terminated, meaning the 8-day extension right is removed. Closing must occur on that exact date. Option 2 shall remain in full force and effect, meaning the 8-day automatic extension still exists. Many agents leave this unchanged, meaning the extension remains. Possession. This determines when the buyer actually gets possession of the home. Possession does not always happen at closing. Buyer agrees to allow seller to retain possession of the property conveyed to buyer. This means the seller may stay in the property after closing, depending on which option is chosen. Only one option should be checked. Option A, meaning seller stays in the home until closing occurs. At closing, seller leaves, buyer gets possession. This is the most common situation. B, how many hours after closing? Example, 24 hours after closing, meaning seller gets a short window to move out. Option C, number of days after closing and the time. Example, 3 days after closing at 5 p.m. This allows a temporary post-closing occupancy. Important note, if the seller stays after closing, You should attach the temporary occupancy agreement. This is the GAR F219 temporary occupancy agreement form. This protects both parties. Additional pages, the F801 is attached. If this box is checked, it is an example of what to write in the F801. For example, rent for post-closing occupancy, cleaning requirements, holdover penalties. All other terms remain in full force and effect. This means only the closing date and or possession date change. Everything else in the contract stays the same. The purchase price, contingencies, financing terms, repair, deadlines, etc. By signing this amendment, this confirms that both parties have read the contract, understand it, and agree to it. The buyer signs, the seller signs, and the seller's agent signs, and the buyer's agent signs. Acceptance date. This is when the amendment becomes binding. The amendment becomes binding when both parties sign and notice of acceptance is delivered. And this concludes the F716 amendment to change closing possession date.